Greetings, African people. Today I'm here to talk to you about some lessons that I have learned and to share with you some questions that I've asked myself over the years. Number one thing that I notice is Black people in the West have nothing to call their own. Now, I don't really know much about Africa, and I would appreciate if someone who's from Africa can tell us, about how well African people are doing. I've seen individuals that are profiled on United States magazines who are very wealthy and doing very well for themselves. But in terms of Caribbean people and African people in North America, we really have nothing to call our own. Let's take a look at BET, for example. When Black folks start to do anything, we don't support it. Um, we say it's ghetto and we say it's not sophisticated enough. And we're always the first to criticize it. I'm going to take a peek at my notes because it's a lot I want to say today. Let another group do the same thing and we hail it, we worship it, we sacrifice our life for it, and we even murder each other for it. The very thing that we have and we started, that we disrespect and disregard, someone else from a different culture or different group come and do the same thing, and suddenly that thing is authentic. We are quick to open doors and welcome everyone who pretend to like us. There are many individuals, they are such good serpents that they know how to camouflage their truth about how they feel about us and our culture. And they will come in and play nice until they get what they want. We have this kind of hero worship for everybody else who doesn't look like us. So why hero worship of other people? And let's give an example. I just saw something on Facebook this morning with a girl turkeying her ass, and everybody's so enamored. Oh, they all come out. Oh my gosh, she's doing it so well. Oh my goodness, I think I have to go back to my culture. There's one woman from France that says, oh, I have to go back to my culture because this girl danced better than me. And that individual probably wouldn't want to have anything to do with Jamaica. And if she saw another Jamaican girl dancing like that, she would scoff at her and call her names. But this girl is turkeying her ass, and all of a sudden, dance hall becomes credible. So, we frown upon our own thing and culture, especially the elites in our culture, in our country. Yet when someone from another place capitalize and participate in these activities, we applaud, we hero worship, we demonize the Black girl for whining, but we cheer the other gal when she does the same thing. Why aren't we rich? We give away our resources. We teach folks our culture and hand over the best part to others who go off and make riches from our stupidity. Why are Black people not leaders? Because we see no value in each other. Anyone who looks like me suddenly becomes less relevant because we place others above us, because they tell us that we are not important, we are not beautiful, we are not educated, we are not spiritual, we're not brilliant. And the problem is, it's not what the person tells you, is the fact that you believe it. So everything that validates us as authentic, we dismiss it like a dog with the bone. The dog goes over the river or the water and he sees a reflection of himself. And what does he do? He lets go of that bone, the real thing, to go after the one that is the illusion. We always fall for the illusion. We hold ourselves to some impossible standards and give a free pass to others. So if one of your brother or sister makes a mistake, nothing is wrong with criticizing that individual or calling them out on it. But that criticism should not become a condemnation. And we do that a lot. We are holding each other to standards that we ourselves cannot live up to. And this is, when it comes to religion, that is one of the worst things. You have individuals who have strength in one area, and when they see someone else is weak in that area, rather than look at that as saying, this is something that this person has to work on to try to overcome, we condemn that individuals. We are always so willing to condemn each other, and we do not stand in support of each other. So when the world goes against one of our own, we always gang up on the individual, and we're not willing to give them a free pass. But if someone else of a different race or a different culture does the same thing, you'll be surprised to hear the justification we give for that person's sin. Our kids sometimes are given the worst treatment. I am so shocked to see how many Black Americans came out and talked about that girl who was beaten by the cop and justified the behavior, that what happened to her matched her behavior. Her not handing over a cell phone deserved the licks that she got. And the funny thing is, the individuals who look like the person who was throwing on those licks, those individuals support that man's action. And African also supported him as well. It is so pathetic and it's so sad. And that is one of the reasons why we are not leaders in this world. We demand the death penalty towards our own more than any other race. We give people more credit than they deserve. They're even surprised when we give them these accolades. They're actually surprised. It's not their fault that we have put them upon some kind of pedestal. Sometimes they never asked us to put them on that pedestal, but we do it anyway. And I think it surprised some of these individuals. They must stay in behind closed doors and wonder, what is wrong with us. The power that individuals hold in this world, we give it to them. They don't have power without you endorsing or celebrating the things that they do. It cannot become as wonderful as it is. We are the ones who vote. People can't put themselves in political offices unless we go and cast our votes. We worship individuals who sometimes are not even asking us to worship them, but because of our own self-hatred and our own ignorance and our own willingness to castrate each other, we turn to other people with hero worship as we condemn each other. If we acknowledge that we are not superior, why would you then give that status to anyone else? So I don't know, there are a few Black people who will say that Black persons came first and that we are the first man and that we are more superior. I don't believe that. I think that's nonsense. All people are equal. Civilization didn't start with Black people. I don't believe that. My idea of creation is not one that pits one group against the other and say this one human being is better than the other. I don't agree with it. I think it's foolishness. That is actually reverse racism. You know how they say Black folks can't be racist, but if you look at it that way, then I could say yes, because then you're saying and doing the same thing that others have done to you. By saying one group is more superior, you've got to say the other is inferior. And I don't think any race of people is superior. We're all equal. We're equal. But man chooses to divide us. And so I think you can validate other people without yourself, really, without invalidating anyone else. Why are Black people so powerful against their own? That's a big question. Why is it that, no matter how someone is broken, no matter how a Black person has no agency, when it comes to the other person, they all of a sudden are so strong. They're so powerful, whether it be male against female, female against male, men against each other, women against each other. We find this amazing wealth of power within us to attack each other. I think it's because we remind each other of the struggle. The hatred towards each other stems from having limited resources, limited knowledge of self, and seeing others as a threat. So we see each other as a threat because we have to compete for the limited resources. Since most of us are not rich, we blame the other for our condition by default. That is the real reason why we're not getting along. That's the real reason why it is so easy for example, two artists who are doing very well, have their own group, have their own following, to find a way to tear each other down because they always feel threatened. They always think the other person is going to come and take that limited resource. Do we have to be afraid of other human beings? No, we don't. We don't have to be afraid of other human beings, because power that people hold is an illusion, since few people tell the mass that they are in control. So those who are in control of the means of production, whatever, they're very limited. They're a very small group. The the population is larger than those who rule it or govern over it or make rules for it. And if we understand that as a collective group, we are more powerful than the few that stand above us. Power is an illusion. Don't forget that. Those who hold power are always worried and threatened by the masses who they know have the ability to withdraw their support. Without the masses, there's no wealth for the few. The rich man needs you to generate wealth. It's not the other way around. You are the machine. You don't work. If you don't work, that rich man has nothing. The paper is his power, but your strength and labor is your bargaining. So you're worried about the paper, and he worries about the human capital. Because if you have a factory and everyone within that factory doesn't show up to work for 1 week, that person is going to lose a lot of money. That person is going to want to have to meet with you. Excuse me. Do you have to fear anyone? Fear what they can do to you. You see, when we give off the energy and tell people that, they can withhold the goodies that they give to us, we kind of empower them. But we really don't have to fear anyone, not even the gunmen in the world. And we do live in a gunman world, right? With the gun, a lot of these guys are like catties. You catch them one way without the weapon and they cry like Susie. So a lot of people who are exercising self-control, because they fear that individuals can do all kinds of things to them. You have to understand that these are human beings just like yourself. And without that weapon in the hand, they are just as weak as you. Lots of people will always fight to bear arms because that's their agency. That's their strength. This is why I would rather watch a karate movie any day over a cowboy movie, because the karate guys are able to defend themselves using physical strength. But the cowboy guy is only depending on this pistol in his hand to win that game. Why? Who should you trust? Nobody. You don't even know if you can trust your own self. You don't trust anybody, but you give people an opportunity to prove you're wrong. So when I meet somebody, I don't automatically say, we use the word nice. I'll say, okay, seems like a nice person, but that doesn't mean I trust you. How do you know if someone is your friend? You test the friendship. That's how you know. You provoke, you question, you challenge people. When you do that, people are not able to hide their truth. So even on this YouTube journey for me, there are individuals who come on here and they mask themselves and they say all the right things. Sometimes they say very racist things, trying to lure me into saying things that they can use against me. And I'm thinking to myself, whenever I get into conversation with persons who are just willing to just say horrible things about other people without even censoring themselves, it makes me know that they're genuines. These individuals don't realize that after a while, people start to figure you out and know who you are. So a lot of times I have people of other race who come on here trying to act like, yeah, I'm with you, and yeah, I agree with you and support you, and I know them. They're so transparent, it's not even funny. So those individuals, do I have to just come out and tell you that you're not a Black person, that you are somebody who is here camouflaging yourself, trying to come on here, you're a hypocrite, and you pretend like you're this nice, decent human being, and you're not. So, sometimes I challenge these individuals, or sometimes I make a video that will out these person, and it works every time, 100% time. You want to know who people really are? Be patient and give them a long rope, long enough to hang themselves. They can't hide their ugliness. They will talk nice. They will play nice until you question them about wrongdoing. You call their BS, and when you do, all of a sudden the fangs come out and they become like vampires. Serpents appear harmless, and they'll stick around you to hide their hatred of you and people like you. But you don't have to get mad with them. You just have to let them stay there long enough and have conversations with them long enough until they finally show their truth. Don't trust anyone who pretend to like you and hate other people who look like you. So for example, I had a friend. She was so nice to me, but she told me about using her keys to scratch a black man's BMW. And she said, where would this guy get money to buy a BMW? He must be a drug dealer. Well, that is a warning sign I needed. And she might still see me as her friend, but she's certainly not my friend. You don't have to really avoid some people. Sometimes you have to keep them close and give them the longest rope you can for them to go hang themselves. What do you think about war boats? People who love to wage war. My thing is, let them wage war against everybody, because eventually there won't be anybody. See, warmongers love to cluster together and make war on people, and that warmongers are in every race. Black people and every other people on the planet, there's always warmonger. The spirit is always warring against itself. And so these individuals, give them time, be patient, because when they have nobody else to war against, they will eventually turn on themselves, and then you'll have a world war. Will Black people ever unite? It seems like the answer is no, but I say yes. When they realize that they have a common enemy, but they won't unite until they get coof, cough, bath, and some real slaps. You see, after they've had enough kicks and slaps and boxes, eventually one day they'll wake up. There will always be traitors in your midst. Black people will always be available to be a Judas in your life and to betray you. I have had many traitors in my life from Black people. I've had lots of other people who have been very good to me and looked out for me. And I've had my very own people who was willing to hang me up on a rope while they're smiling with me and embracing me. We don't need any kings. What we need is community. We need trading amongst each other. We need serving and promoting each other. Other people fear us more than you know. But they're invested in keeping us poor and ignorant. Can we rise above this mediocre? Of course we are. First thing we got to do is place value in our economic worth. Demand fair wages for work and our services. When we are slighted and taken for granted, withdraw our services, support each other, support those who support you. Our human capital is far more important than the paper that they give us for it. They need us as much as we need them. One can't work without the other. Don't watch shows that tell you that you are irrelevant. Don't spend your money on overpriced goods and build wealth in other people's community as you neglect your own. If you don't stop building wealth in other people's community, you will make them rich and stronger and will always have you underneath their foot. If you want to continue to be stupid, it is your decision to do that. Understand yourself. Loving of yourself doesn't mean that you hate other people. You can love yourself, and this is what's happening. I've had people who say, oh, you're prejudiced. Why am I prejudiced? Because I celebrate my Blackness. I love my heritage. People come on tell me that I'm not African because Africans don't want me. Why is that any of your concern that Africans don't want me? Who cares? If they don't want me, that's fine, because I feel okay knowing that an African doesn't want me and reject me, because there are many individuals who seem to want me and seem to want to embrace me, and they hate my guts. I'll take my chances on those who hate me. At least for what I know, African people don't hide their truth. If they hate you, you know. If a black man don't like you and hate you, he'll probably come after you with bullets. But there are other individuals who hate you, and they'll keep you around long enough, and when they're done, they destroy you. You don't get a chance to escape. Watch what's going on across the border with an individual who recently said that he could go into some big popular space in the United States and kill somebody and he wouldn't lose his support. We have got to get to that point where we know that no matter what happens and the mistakes we make in our community, others will still have our back. Be blessed, everybody. Think on these things.